Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of In Silence's Conscious Conversations, where we speak with radical human beings that we believe are changing the landscape of humanity for now and the new world. And today we have a special guest, one that I admire and have been admiring for the past 5 years since I joined the AI space. I've always been just, I'm not sure if I shared this with you, Gaio, but I've always just been quietly fangirling until I met you finally officially. But yeah, he's amazing. He is the host of Interfaces Conversationize or Conversational Interfaces. He's also an enablement specialist at an AI company. He's the organizer of the biggest bots community in Brazil called Bots Brasil. And he's been a serial speaker at global tech events on conversational AI and chatbots. And that's actually how I met him and became a fan for a while. And I have now the honor and pleasure to call him my friend. Everybody, please welcome Caio Calado.
Hi, hello. How are you?
I'm great because I'm always great, especially when I speak with you. I am so excited and I'm so happy that you're finally here and the people in the community will get to know you. And let's do this. Let's start right away.
Yeah. Let's do it. To whoever is listening, get some water, sit
Yes.
down, make some notes. It's going to be fun. I'm excited and thank you so much for the opportunity.
I agree with what Kayo said. Get a pen and a paper or your G Dog. Take notes. You are gonna learn a gazillion things from Kayo. Okay, so before anything else, Kayo, this is a question that I ask everybody. When was the last time that you were mind blown?
Well, that's a great question. I consider myself a curious person. I like to be studying, reading, watching things that kind of not relates to my work or the industry. But one thing that I'm kind of mind blowing, it was yesterday. I went to the movies and I watched
Yeah.
Dune Part Two. I
Yes.
was wow, that's wild. There are so many underlines on that movie that kind of relates to the moment that we are. Um, you can see that in a political perspective. You can see that in a religion perspective. You can see that I don't know where people are listening us from, but at least here in the western side, I guess,
Mhm.
yeah, U.S. America's vision. There is now the left and the right side,
Yeah.
and that's kind of was kind of in the movie. So I was kind of really blown away. And honestly, personally, since I have been working in the conversational AI, conversational design space, um, it's a hobby that kind of became something that I kind of do every week. I like to watch table readings in a script. What's that like? Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. That's are one of my favorite ones. You can just go on YouTube, type
Yeah.
Better Call Saul table reading, and then you're going to see the writers, the producers, and the actors sitting down and just reading the script. You feel the emotions, the comments, and see how the series or the final product is going to be built. It's not really built in yet because it's just a script. And then I became obsessed with the idea that with words you can create kind of words, right? Imagination, the movie. And that starts with the writer's perspective, how that person is going to write down the environment and how it's going to lay out the story. I mean, that's part of the conversation design. Like, we are setting the expectations, we are designing a conversation that needs to move forward to a specific scenario. And yeah, I became kind of curious about writing and movies, series. and I feel really connected with the stories. I am the kind of person that sit down, cries, laugh, feel loved,
Yep.
feel hugged in a
Oh,
movie. And yeah, so I watched yesterday Dune, and I am kind of itching to talk with people about it,
oh,
because it
great.
was I got so much inside of me that I need to spill it out.
Yeah.
And it has been with this with other movies as well. I think the other that kind of really touches me was the Hayao Miyazaki movies that got
Mm,
an
mm,
Oscar, The Boy and the Hero. I think that's how it
mm,
translates to English.
mm.
Um,
The Ghibli creator.
exactly.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful movie. I
Mm.
was just like, my mouth was open from the beginning to the end of the movie. But it was a different story. Have you seen these movies?
No, no, my family probably have. But yeah, they're very soulful, is what I
Yeah.
read and heard about his stories and anime.
Yeah. This one in particular, if you're curious about what I just said, like how do you create meaningful, or you create a word with words, right? In the
Mm,
script, based on the script.
mhm,
Specifically on this movie, it was the very first time that from the five first minutes I got inside of the main actors, the main character head, because the way that Ghibli or Studios Ghibli design it,
mhm,
the frames, the movements, everything, you kind of, oh my gosh, something is happening. And then it's just, I was just thinking, like, if I was in that particular situation, I think would be the same for me. That would
mhm,
be the things that I would see. That would be the things that I would do.
mhm,
I mean, if you watch the movie, just a little spoiler. Basically, something is on fire, and
mhm.
the main character is going to run to that particular place, but you don't see nothing. You just
See?
see what?
That's beautiful. The character,
Yeah, I mean,
something being on fire, the character running into it.
yeah, but it's just blurred people, blurred places. You just see one thing, two things,
Yeah.
because you kind of rush to go to that particular place. I think would be the same, right? I mean, you have someone that you care about. I mean, the world disappears. You just focus on that person. Everything else is just a blur,
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
background.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great design perspective, like how they design the draw, and I mean, it's amazing. So everything of that to say, I was blown away by movies and how they create the stories and the world and how you can be immersed on that.
Yeah. And I love the way that your perspective on the scripts and the movies and the table reading. It's fascinating to hear you actually be fascinated by table reading, and how you're able to connect that also with your conversational AI job and work that you do. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Also, because I feel like a lot of people don't have time to do these artsy creative things. People tend to work and work and work, and so thank you for that great reminder. We are watching the movie this coming weekend, I think, Dune. So, but I'm okay with spoilers. So I'm glad that you gave me like that perspective. Now I'm even more excited to watch it. So thank you. Okay, why don't we have you share with the audience? And by the way, we have global audience, people from all over the world. Why don't we have you share your background, what are the projects that you are currently working on now, and how did you get into conversational AI, and just how you feel about that landscape, if you're comfortable answering all those three questions. So
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
okay.
There are some things that I can say and give directions. Maybe I cannot go deep,
Okay.
but I can give some perspectives. So first, my name is kind of different from some people. It's pronounced Caio in Portuguese, but in English you can say Caio,
Right.
just to the listeners to understand.
Oh, I
It's not
didn't
for
know
you.
that.
It's not
Wow.
for you.
No, I'm learning.
We
I always learn so much from you. I love it.
it's not for you. It's to
Okay.
the listeners. So I'm based in São Paulo, Brazil, uh, but I was born in Manaus, the jungle, the natives in Brazil. But then I grew up in the northeast by the ocean. So if you know Brazil, the jungle is on the top left, and I grew up on the top right. And now I kind of living in the middle of Brazil. So I'm a kind of mixed, different cultures. I love my Portuguese accent. I am proud to be Manauara, someone from Manaus, but also Nordestino, which is someone from that kind of comes from Northeast in Brazil. And specifically, I consider myself a Pernambucano, which is someone kind of that grows up in my state, Pernambuco. Um, I am, as I said, I'm a curious person, but I'm also passionate about the things that I do. I kind of put my t-shirt on. This is a Brazilian saying, like when you really care, you just put the t-shirt on and then you go to the game, you do what needs to do. So I am that kind of person, go to. Um, but I kind of grew up in the not really poor, but I wasn't rich. So I had some opportunities. I was privileged in some ways. I was an athlete, which kind of taught me to fight hard to the things that I care or things that I want. Um, and then I got into college. The reason that I'm saying this is because before we start this conversation, we were talking about a birthday last week, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and how the education systems is kind of different
Hmm.
um, from Brazil to the other countries. And then I got in college. I started to study computer science. And in college, I got an opportunity to study abroad in the US, which I had the privilege to live there for a year and a half. I would say that that for sure changed my life in so many perspectives. The very first reason, the day that I got there, my father passed away. Like, I got there, I slept, and then when I woke up, was like that. I got a message, and then that was it. It was a void
Yeah.
because first I never been in the US. I
Mhm.
didn't know anyone there, and I struggle a bit to find my way through college, through a different educational system, and also to build friends and to have a community. Um, but through this opportunity, as you can see, I have an accent.
Beautiful.
uh, but
Beautiful.
I learned English by myself watching Doctor House, which was a really hard series to.
House MD by Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that
I
series.
love
Oh
it.
my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of similarities. Okay.
And
Amazing.
then I had the opportunity to put that in practice. And just to give you a number, in Brazil, about 3% of the population speaks English. For
Oh,
those who doesn't know, yeah, in
oh,
Brazil, we do not speak Brazilian. We speak Portuguese.
yes.
And it's kind of rare to have someone that speaks a second language as English or Spanish. Funny fact that Brazil is the only country in South America that does not speak Spanish, just speak Portuguese.
Oh,
um, yeah, and
okay.
yeah, I kind of learned by myself. And in college, I have some challenges that I was there to study computer science,
Mhm,
but the courses that I had available, I was not interested. And then
mhm.
I decided to do in a American system, it's common to have a major and minor, which is kind of
Yeah.
rare in Brazil. And then I decided to, okay, that's interesting. Let's try design, which I
Mm,
think is really interesting. And then I got in information design, data visualization,
right.
and web design. And that led me to um, a job in San Francisco, which I was working there. I worked there for about 4 or 5 months. I was kind of building a prototype for an exhibition about cybernetics, how that connects to counterculture, to the hippies, and some really interesting ideas that is kind of embedded in the technology today that we never heard of it. but it's kind of deep connected.
Yeah.
That exhibition was in Berkeley, California.
Yeah.
Uh, and that was kind of my first step to conversation design, to service design. I was working for a service design agency, call it DDO, or Dubberly Design Office.
Mm.
I was really privileged to be able to work with the group of people that I was working for, and specifically with Hugh Dubberly and Paul Pangaro, that I got to know through this job.
Mm.
They taught me so much about cybernetics. And long story short, cybernetics is about systems having conversations with systems, how we can perceive that conversation, and how one system can interact with the others. There are orders of cybernetics. There is the first order of cybernetics, which was basically uh, a group of scientists kind of perceived that the nature itself is a system, but what influences the nature by itself?
Mm.
So someone kind of had that crazy idea and decided to study there,
Yeah.
that particular environment. And yeah, that's how we have technology today, pretty much. That's how we have AI. That's
Yeah.
the kind of root of everything. So I got connected with that through Hugh and through Paul. Hugh, in particular, Hugh was part of Apple in the 80s, and he was also part of some really cool things that Apple launched during that time. And one particular thing kind of touches me a lot, which was the Apple Knowledge Navigator, which was a prototype from Apple in the 80s about the future of the education. And if you kind of translate that to today, it's basically what we have with GPT, what we have with an iPad with Siri. It's basically a device that you would have a freely conversation and learn free things with it. You can just Google that. You're going to see some demos. It's really
Mm.
interesting and can be really contextualized to the moment that we are today. But that was back in the 80s.
Mm.
um, so I got really interested about that. I need to go back to Brazil, and I wanted to continue to work with that, either working with service design or be related to things that you can have conversation with.
Congrats.
Then I got an opportunity to work in a Brazilian company. I needed to move to Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, which is in the center of Brazil. And yeah, that was kind of in 2016. And from that moment to today, that has been my life pretty much. I got really excited to be working in the conversational design space. I started a community about that, which is
Yeah.
Bots Brasil. At that moment was kind of my way of giving back my country. I had access to so many interesting knowledge and people, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to create a space that I could share these things with Brazilians, and we can learn together. That was also the moment that Facebook Messenger launched the Bots platform.
Mm.
Uh, at least for Brazil, it was like a flip moment for the conversational industry down here and the ecosystem as a whole.
Mm.
So from that moment to today, I try to help people and companies in Brazil to get in the space. And I personally have been working with projects, helping to develop business, also to develop use cases.
Mm.
And I've been really privileged to have connections and get to know all these amazing stuff. Um, that's a long story short. I don't know if it makes sense, but I
Super.
try I try to give a bigger picture. But yeah, I hope I was not confusing.
It was clear. It was crystal clear. And I hope you don't mind. I've been taking notes as I always do when I speak with you. And I hope people watching and listening to this are also starting to take notes because, again, there's always so much to learn through Kayo. And yeah, you just do not forget to take notes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I get excited because I'm like, what? Cybernetics is, I didn't know that that had a hand in the creation of AI. And I want to go back to your prototype, or was it a product or a project where you were trying to combine cybernetics and hippies? Or could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I can send you the link and then you can share with in the descriptions.
Okay.
Um, so basically, I was hired to create a data visualization based in an article. What's
Okay.
that?
Okay.
So Hugh and Paul, they were invited to write an article for this exhibition in Berkeley. They wanted to tell the story about how cybernetics kind of connects with everything. So
Mhm.
in that particular story, they mention places, people, conventions, and they kind of lay out a timeline for that. I mean, in the article, you're going to see that one thing kind of led to the another, but they want to have that visualization, how things connect with things,
Mhm.
who know who, where, how, and how they're connected. So they wanted to create this graph, not a knowledge graph, but this connection graph.
Mhm.
So I was hired to create that graph and to create that vision about how who is connected with who, why they are connected. And that was a prototype. It was a social graph, I would say,
Right.
based on the article and all the people that were kind of mentioned in the article. And it's a really educational article because it kind of gives you a bigger picture about the implications and the use of cybernetics. As I kind of mentioned, everything is started with Norbert Weiner and some other scientists. One thing that many people knows is about feedback, right? But
Mm.
where does feedback comes from?
Mm.
uh,
Mm.
one way of thinking about that comes from Norbert Weiner, which he kind of lays out a short loop feedback system, which is basically the vision that we have today of everything. Like you have an input, a processing, and then an output. And then sometimes there is a feedback that regulates the system, and then you have the AI, whatever. I
Mm.
mean, you have yourself, for example. We kind of go to the gym, we work out a lot, and then the other day we're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But that's your body giving you feedback that your workout worked. And that's up to you to make the decision to go back or not. So
Yeah.
that's just a different way of seeing this short feedback loop. And that applies to anything
Mm.
anywhere today, and especially with AI, because everything is just statistics. It's based on the short feedback loops, it's based on numbers. Today we still make great decisions, but for how long? With
Mm.
the AI systems coming, so I mean, talking about this, the future, but cybernetics is about this perception, about
Mm.
how one system interacts with others, and what are these interaction models that we can maybe use it to drive a different behavior in the system, to
Mhm.
change the feedback or the output that the system have. So academically, the term for that is the system thinking or the system design. It's a really interesting area, and I think everyone that is out there today interested in working technology
Mm.
or curious about the implications of AI, go in that direction. You're going to see in a different with a different eyes, I would say.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love, again, you keep giving birth to more topics. I love it. But before that, I love that you mentioned that, you recommended for people to kind of explore feedback loop, cybernetics, system thinking, system design, to have a different perspective of AI, because you know how it is. There's such a doomsday tone to AI. I mean, I speak to so many people every day, and I would say 95% of the people, whether they're working, well, not really working, whether they're creating content on AI or not, they're so afraid of it. And I find that people like you and me, who actually have built or are still building AI powered machines or bots and are deep in our research, more than just consuming the usual content, you know? I differentiate the builders from the content creators on AI, because for me, the real builders of AI products and machines are the best source of content, because we don't just do our research, we also build. Therefore, it gives us a completely different perspective. We are mentored by people who have done it, who is just beautiful, the builders in the AI industry versus the content creators who are doing a beautiful work. But I feel like without that experience of getting their hands dirty, then they will truly stay within that doomsday, what's happening in the future kind of perspective. So thank you so much for saying that. Ha,
Can
cybernetics.
I add something on that?
Oh, of course.
So I kind of didn't mention my. You asked about what is my work today, and it kind of relates to what you just said.
Mm,
Um, so on my LinkedIn, it's enablement position, but that's the label that they got me. But in reality, my work is basically to understand what professionals in an ecosystem needs to learn to work either with AI or work in a business that I am in the ecosystem that I'm based on, which is the company that I work for, right?
mhm.
Um, so my job is basically to perceive these type of skills and knowledge that is important for professionals to be working with AI, and try to create a ladder, educational ladder for them to not only um, learn faster, but also to be more precise on the
Mm,
things that they should look at least. Because today there's so many content out there, so many
yeah.
creators that we just live in in the information era, right? Like there's so much information with so much things. What is important? We don't know. So I'm trying to direct these points, like create a ladder for them to evolve their skills, but also to become a better professional in the ecosystem that we are based in the ecosystem that I'm based on. I do this for designers, I do this for developers, I do this for project managers, and I'm trying to create this framework that we can not only create but expand in terms of knowledge. And this is something important, not to the newcomers to the tech space, but also to the people that are there. Um, Today, we kind of face three challenges when it comes to education. One, there are people that are in the workforce. They are already working, but they need to learn new skills. New skills. So we call this upskilling. We need to upskill the abilities that they don't have, and we think that is important. And that also goes to the things that they know, but they need to relearn about how to do it. And this is the moment that we are this is the shift that we are passing right now with ChatGPT, which is basically he skilling. How can we can relearn something that we already know, but with a different mindset or a different mental model? And the third one is just the skills. What are the important things that we need to learn? That's going to be fresh for the newcomers because they don't have a mental model. But for the newcomers, think about this. When you don't have an idea about something, the first thing that it kind of puts in your head, for example, don't think about an elephant. You're going to think about an elephant. So when you create that image in your head, that's your mental model. Imagine that for someone that kind of thought about an elephant, but now it says like, okay, an elephant is not like that. It's like this. You see the challenge? So
Yeah.
that's the moment that we are. So there is the newcomers. There are people that are already in the workforce. So these are the things: new skills, upskilling, skilling. So that's basically my job. I'm not an educational profession specialist, but I am privileged to be friends that they can taught me a lot. And as I said, I'm curious, and that's part of the design job. Be curious about
Yeah.
things, ask about things. So in that perspective, I'm doing that in the conversational space of the company that I'm working for, in the Brazilian level and expanding to other countries as well. So I'm really privileged. I feel really privileged to be in this position because I learned so much with so many different people from so many different perspectives. And also, I think that's the moment that I am today. Kind
Mhm.
of step back and look different ways. Or I have been there working in the projects. I have been client facing or working with clients. Now I can just step back. Oh, developer, I understand what you're saying. Let me talk about this. Have you thought about that? Or having these conversations with different types of stakeholders,
Yeah.
tech stakeholders, business stakeholders, design stakeholders, and try to be on this business language, which is corporate language, which is a challenge.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
I
God.
think I answer all the questions now, right?
Yes. And more. And more. You always give more, Kayo. You always give more. Um, and I love that you, again, you gave birth to another subtopic, right? So without you mentioning directly a title, we don't like titles, but we're humans, we live in a world that has to have titles or labels.
Yeah.
The way that I would call what you describe your work for for clients and organizations and people in the organizations is somewhat of a bridge manager role. Have you heard of that role? No? Okay.
Is it bridge
Bridge.
manager role?
Yes, bridge
Never
manager.
heard, never
Yeah,
heard of that.
it's not a popular role, but in a country like Japan, I just learned that there. I think it was in the US was the first time that I heard about it, but it's not very popular. And then Japan is kind of more known. So a bridge manager is what you and I have been doing. We're kind of like have taken a step back. We're looking from a bird's eye view, and then we understand what each stakeholder in the organization needs because the developer, the engineering team, they speak a different language, they think in binaries. The design team, they think and speak in visuals, designs. And then business developers, the business people, they think from a business perspective, and so on and so forth. And so once they start to come up with a goal or a way towards the goal, it becomes convoluted. And so the bridge manager is that person who kind of translates everything into a language that everyone understands so that we can all move forward in achieving that goal. That's kind of what the bridge manager is, and I feel like what you described towards the end is what it is. So, and again, it's interesting that it's not a common thing in all countries, even though you and I have been working in the AI space and in technology for a while now. So,
Yeah. Uh, now you mentioned, I'm
did you
just
look it
looking
up?
for that. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking for the. So I mentioned that I like movies, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I remember one particular movie that it was that movie that I went. I'm trying to find the name in oh, is it this? I'm trying to find the name in English. Just I can send you later. Um,
Thank you.
in 2019, it was one of the Oscars nominees for that year. There is a movie in Portuguese is The Happiness on the Little Things, which is A Felicidade nas Pequenas Coisas, and it's from someone from Australia. It's a professor that it's not happy on being a professor, and he kind of is designated to be in a really far away school in the middle of nowhere, like with no electricity, no connection, like, and then he learns the happiness of the little things. And the main message of that movie is that a professor is someone that kind of touches the futures for the children. um, and it was one of the, I mean, it was one of the movies that I wasn't expected, and I was blown away. Like, oh my
Mm.
gosh, like to rethink about that. It's a great movie. It's an indie movie. If there are people that don't like indie movies, But for me, it was a great movie. So many things to learn from it.
Yeah, I look forward to you sending the link. I love indie movies myself. I feel like indie movies and documentaries, I feel like they have more depth and sensibility and also relatedness to the real world.
I got the name of the movie in English. Wow. Translates completely different. Is Lunana York in the classroom?
Yeah,
In
okay.
fact, that's crazy because they need to save the animal so they are able to produce fire, and the animal is basically in the classroom with the professor. So it's a
Oh my.
completely different way.
Yeah.
You need to be really passionate about your job, and he
Yeah.
learns a lot about that because every ancient in the village that he is, everybody's just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for giving us a future for our children and a future for our village. So go watch it.
This is the other thing that I love about you as I started to get to know you. You work, I feel like you embody what we are trying to what the mission is at In Silence. So, we try to use the ancient teachings on spirituality and the deeper and higher and wider essence of technology. So you work and you have been working so much within the tech space while in your life you are philosophizing whether you realize it or not, through your choices of content or materials that you read or movies that you watch. The way I see it, you philosophize almost everything, I would say, that you see and experience and consume, which I think is very beautiful because there's a tendency for tech people to stay within the tech mindset, right? Like binaries, numbers, code, business. And that's why we set out this mission at Silence, where, okay, I think the new human should embrace both worlds. It should be as basic to everybody or to most as reading and writing at least one language. It should be as normal as drinking water. And I love that about you. So I'm curious. I kind of know the answer to this, but for the audience, for the people watching and reading and listening to this, did you notice that you are a technologist, but you philosophize, you have a strong spiritual practice, whether you acknowledge it or not? That's how I see you. Um, did you notice that? And what are your thoughts on that? You kind of embody the spirituality and technology new human that's needed in the world.
uh no, but I am in process. This is a process of I think it's like every day. We learn new things, we try to be better, and we try to evolve as a human being. But if you think for a moment, I mean, evolution, there is a point that you don't go anywhere, right? Like you just got 100% whatever. Um, but every day we face with different challenges and we try to see things with a different perspective. Me personally, as I kind of mentioned about the community, at first I started the community as a way of giving back Brazilians, or to be really honest. And this is a really funny fact that is a hidden secret. I'm gonna mention, but I'm not gonna share it. Uh, 2015, I was in San Francisco. I was working. Then, out of nowhere, I got an email from the Brazilian president, not the person itself, but from the committee, right? The
Yeah.
group of people who worked with the president. It was Dilma Rousseff. Was part of the scholarship program, and they wanted to record the experience of students that was part of that program. And then I was invited to be that. It was me and another woman. She was a postdoc, and me as a graduate student. Um, I do have that video, but I'm not gonna share it.
Oh yeah.
The funny fact was that when I record that, I was just living the moment, right? I was just spilling out things that I kind of believe it, but I wasn't sure that the things that I kind of said would actually become true. And then when I look in retrospect, I am doing the things that I mentioned, that I believe that I should do. Basically, was I'm gonna take this opportunity, everything that I learned here, and I'm gonna bring to Brazil. Um, I was not only able to do that, but also to empower an ecosystem of professionals, business, even business cases regarding conversational space, specifically on business messaging, which is a different type of, is a different ecosystem, I would say. It's a different chatbots from the US, I don't know, Europe vision. I would say, I don't know if you know, but Brazilians is the third most active country in WhatsApp. When it comes to creating business messaging solutions,
Mm,
the first one is India for sure, and
mm,
the second one that Meta specifically look at, it's Brazil. Um,
mm,
and the reason of that is because we have so much. So many difficulties with infrastructure that technology kind of builds this bridge for this gap.
mm,
And when it comes to messaging, WhatsApp is the main channel down here.
mm,
97% of the Brazilians that has a smartphone has WhatsApp installed, and they use it pretty much every day.
mm,
So being part of that ecosystem, know the founders, know C levels from different companies, and be able to articulate, even working in business competitors of them, but just being connected, listen, learning from these people. For me, it's just, as I said, it's a privilege. I'm really lucky to be able to orchestrate that. And we have been doing this since 2016, and we still continue to help others. Um, so that's kind of what motivates me to kind of evolve. But speaking like this wasn't always easy.
mm,
uh, I was so this is really important for everybody that is listening, and especially for me that is still learning this. Um, 2016 to 2019, I put in front of me objectives that wasn't really my objectives, and that kind of creates expectations and needs that wasn't up to me. And that led me, for example, to I'm gonna say that I have a beginning of a burnout. Some people might say that it was, but I think that a burnout person would be way worse than I was. But I hit the bottom. Just
mm,
like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I
mm,
don't know what motivates me, even though I was doing these things and I continue to
mm,
do. Um, but then I have a flip. I started to think that I need to be myself a spectator. I need to root for myself, and I need to do the things that I believe for. Once I understood that I don't need to, how can I say, please other people. I need to please myself. If I please myself and I have my principles, right, I can be building things that is going to help others, and that's has been me. My motto since 2017 has been, and I still continue to use this, is from someone that is already passed away. It's Leila Jana's quote, is that there are talented people out there. No, sorry, it's just my Portuguese. Um, Talent is equally distributed. Opportunities are not. I strongly believe there are so many talented people out there. Um, they just don't have the opportunity. I personally, I like to see myself as not a builder per se, but someone that can create a stage and invite people to be on that stage. The stage is not for me, it's for others. And that's what kind of motivates me to be trying to create that opportunity, and kind of reflects what I do today. I'm trying to create letters, educational letters, that is going to help others to have access to these types of opportunities. The challenge that I have today is how I'm gonna scale that and share that outside from my bubble, right? But that's in the progress. And I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to learn myself better. I'm trying to learn new things that is going to help me to understand the things that I feel. Uh, Saying that things feels kind of easy, but there are lots of books on that journey. There are lots of conversations with therapists. um, I'm not alone. But I can talk to people or even read books that is going to help me to understand the things that I'm passing through. And a fun fact, this is kind of part of my job as well as a designer. Designers should be curious
Mm,
essence, because it's part of the designs. Many people think that designer is going to solve problems, but in reality, designs are able to understand problems, and based on that problems, they're going to find solutions. It's a different perspective. And about philosophers, I always thought that philosophers are the ones that are always thinking, reflecting. But then I started to engage with philosophers, and then they share me an idea that, Kyle, actually, it's about asking the questions. That's why we think. We study to make uh, better questions and try to understand better what is inside us, what is around us. And that's part of the job. It's not only thinking, but think about the questions. Making the questions is more important than the speaking. And I am trying to embody that. I'm not done. I'm still in the journey. But that doesn't mean that need to be boring. I have some moments that I can just contemplate, sit down, do nothing. And I have moments that I'm kind of really focused on something, and try to get things done. uh, I learned that it's not about the numbers, it's about the consistency that you can deliver. If you deliver one thing that is great, is great. If you deliver 10 things, that's not the thing, right? It's not about the numbers, it's about how consistent and great you can be. 10 things can, from that 10 things, one of them can be great, and that's it. um, you need to be working with the expectations that you have for yourself. And as I said, today I'm trying to do the things that is going to motivate me. I'm trying to do the things that I believe, or I'm trying just to help others, which, as I said, it's kind of what motivates me to put another person in the stage. How can I help that person? That person needs to have a better presentation skills. This person needs a feedback on a project. There are so many ways that we can work on that. And also, most important, which was the I told you I would be building up in parentheses, parentheses, parentheses.
I love it.
Uh,
Love
but the thing that I'm trying to be, that's going to be sound a little bit odd, but I'm trying to be selfish with my time. Like, it doesn't need to be doing 100 things, but if I can focus in few things that I'm gonna do great, I'm trying to focus on my time, where my
Mm,
time is valued, where I can help others or even learn from others. Because if I say yes to everything, in the end of
mm,
the day, I might not have time for myself, and that can be a challenge. So,
yeah.
yeah, long story short, create expectations for yourself, not for others. Learn how to manage your time and say no. And
Mm,
also find your motto, what motivates you, and try to be up to date to that motto. Uh, Things that can help you: books, therapists, talking to others. Do not be negligent to that. That can draw you or push you to a hole, which is not really great. Go in that direction. I have been there. I didn't go deep, but I was in that direction, and I was lucky to perceive that and to get out. And as a matter of fact, it was a book, to be honest, that helped me to understand that I was in that moment and I need to find another mountain to climb.
I
So
was
I
gonna
hope
ask,
I
yes, you answered my question already without me asking you the next question, which is how did you Because when you hit rock bottom, or when you find yourself in a dark place, or whatever people call it, it's so hard to see what's happening. But you mentioned that it was a book that helped you realize that you are in that bottom place.
Yeah.
But do you recall, or did how
Yeah, it was this
the
book
book?
here,
Okay, so you were just reading The Making of a Manager.
Julie Zhu. I am a fan of her. You know, I started to create content because of her. She just only like a tweet of mine, and it's just, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
oh
that's
my
good.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my spark to become, because I mean, today she's not creating content as she used to. Um, but in 2014, 2016, every post that she posted, I was just there digging, reading. And then one day I share it, make a comment. I don't remember exactly what, but she liked it. Just like, oh my gosh, what if I create content and tag the people that I like? Would they like me back? That's kind of how it started. But yeah, this is a book. The reason that I perceive that is because this is a really interesting book. Um, I like the way that she writes because she kind of gives you a situation and that she tells like, this is what is going to happen. This can be the positive side and this is the negative side. These are the things.
Mhm.
And while she was doing that throughout the book, for me, all the negative, I was just like highlighted. Oh, this is me. Oh, this is what's happening. Oh, now I understand this. And that was for me my moment of realization on this positive, negative, what to do. I noticed that I had many things that I was doing wrong. That there are my mistakes, of course, but there are mistakes from others. I embrace my mistakes. From that time, honestly, I didn't understand some of the mistakes that I had or some of the moments. Today, even today, I regret some moments with some people that sometimes I just go to them like, "Hey, do you remember this day? I'm sorry for that." um, but yeah, so she helped me to understand that. And while she did that, I can give you just a hint. But another thing, there is a designer, Pablo Stanley. He every chapter he starts the chapter with a comic,
Mm.
which gives you a hint about what is the chapter about. And this particular is the last chapter of the book, and was on this moment that I realized that's it. I need to find. So basically, it's an animal climbing a mountain. There's the myth and the reality. The
Mm.
myth, you climb the mountain, you got to the top, and then you feel this is it. I'm done. I'm great. That's the finish. But the reality, the top of the mountain is just the bottom of the next one.
Yeah.
So that's basically that's basically the comic. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's not. Yeah,
Yeah. I can.
that was when I realized, wow, I need to find another mountain to climb.
Yeah.
And that's when I finish. Just like I'm done. I'm gonna quit my job, and I'm gonna find another mountain. And that was what I did. I quit my job. I stayed a month with my mom, and then I was reflecting to the next step.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. First, let me just say thank you for putting yourself out in the world, because otherwise I would not have discovered you. And so this is actually me, whether you realize it or not, this is me saying to you that, reflecting back to you, that the work that you're doing in Bots Brazil is actually scaling, because you are reaching a more global audience. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, before I reach out to you on LinkedIn, I was already seeing you on at tech events, because we were both speakers. But and in some of those events, there would always be a lot of other speakers, but you are one of the very few that caught my eye the first time that I saw you. Your same photo, same name, obviously. And then I said, okay, there's no opportunity for it felt like you were so far distant from me at the time. And so I kept seeing you in other tech events. And finally the European one, I'm like, oh, he hosted it. And so I love that, because again, if you didn't put yourself out there, so thanks to Julie Zuo, you did put yourself out there, and now you have such a beautiful community in Brazil. And it's not just that, more people are getting to know you and the work that you do and your thoughts, your mind, your beautiful mind. More people outside of Brazil is finding out about that. So thank you for that. And not everybody. I love how you're so grateful and acknowledging your privileges. First of all, you're very talented. I think you're such a great soul. That's
Thank
probably
you.
why opportunities come to you and great people come to you. And then you're very diligent in just picking up the message like, "Oh, I need to find my next mountain. Okay, I'll do that." Not everybody is like you, because more often than not, people are like given the tips or given the signs and the messages that, okay, these are the things that you need to do, but it's very hard as a human being to pick up yourself, right? So I think you're
Yeah,
so strong and brave in that. um
I'm trying. I'm trying.
oh my gosh, the way you're trying is, it has a lot of impact, um and I remember one of our conversations before today, you said I think you're trying to kind of shift into a slightly different career, not building communities anymore or something like that. Is that still kind of?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was, in fact, before I joined here, I was watching a content creator event. It's from one that kind of lives in my. It's like a famous person. It's funny. Here in São Paulo, there is a famous architect, Oscar Niemeyer. He was a genius because in the 50s he was able to create shapes with concrete, like waves with
Oh,
concrete.
okay.
That was really rare by the time, really complicated to do. And he was an architect that kind of did. So if you go to Google and just type São Paulo's downtown or São Paulo's center, probably you're going to see lots of building, and then there's going to be one building that's going to stand out that is just an S, like a wave, huge building. Um, so this person, I was watching this creator this event. I lived next to that building, in fact, and this person lives there. I know that he lives there because he created a video about his apartment.
Mm,
Um, he was talking about the future of professions. Um, and basically the answer was just like the future is content creator. I was intrigued
mm.
by the fact that I personally, I think that we need to find a new meaning or name for communities, not in the matter of creating space that people can connect or share ideas that they care about.
Yeah,
But if you think for a moment, YouTube, TikTok, even LinkedIn, every people is saying like, let's create a community. And as a matter of fact, they're basically creating a network of followers
yeah,
because the community is a place to share.
yeah,
How can that be a place that people can go and share if the handler is yours? That's your channel, and these are your followers.
yeah,
The perspective of communities is just that people can go to the comment section and then can have conversations about it. I
yeah,
don't know. I see communities different. But as I said, I don't. I mean, as I said in the first conversation, I don't have a word, or I don't know yet um, where we are going. Um, But what I'm trying to say is basically that I think that communities has changed. Today we have communities of business, community of clients of a business, community of users, communities as a followers. Community is a commodity, can be
Yeah.
anything. And
Mhm.
I'm on that journey to trying to understand how can I differentiate my perception of community to, I don't know, maybe a group, independent group, or other placeholder or label that is going to explain better what we do.
Mhm.
I mean, just a disclaimer, I do think that communities are important. I believe in the power of the community, all of that. But as I said, I'm just trying to differentiate myself from others. Just, I mean, long story short, this is basically a marketing problem created by Philip Kotler. Uh, from marketing 4.0 to 5.0, Kotler created the idea that every brand should be able to have a horizontal communication with the communities that they're curating to. Today, in the marketing 5.0, we have so many technologies that can scale that communication. That community is just an asset for some brands and services.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but that community is not the community that I believe. And to people that like to create content and to create relations with people in the tech space, actually there is a word for that. There is a profession. We call it developer relations, as the name suggests. It's for developers, but doesn't mean it doesn't mean that only developers are up to the job. Can be
Mhm.
design advocate, can be any kind of position that kind of relates to a technical audience. This is a field in the industry that has been around for years. It started at Apple with Guy Kawasaki. He was one of the very first evangelists for Macintosh applications. And there is a way of doing that, and they create relations with technical audiences. So that's the community that I see: a group of people, professionals, technical professionals that get together and share knowledge. Um, the word today is community, but it's not the community that we see everyday people using. It's a different way of community. So I am on that journey to trying to find that space to create a community for something. And in fact, I think I mentioned in the beginning before we recorded. That's why, for example, I created the YouTube channel Interfaces Conversacionais. I have the Bots Brasil space, which is a community that I kind of manage and help, but I do want my space that I can share the things that I care. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna use the stage, Bots Brazil stage, to push things that I believe.
Mhm.
I want to have my space so
Mhm.
I can say the things that I want, and it's not one thing related to another. Of course, some people can make the relations. Oh, you are there, you're there. Where are you? That's my answer to that type of question. There is a bots Brazil stage. If I'm there, I'm there. And there is the conversational interface stage. If I'm there, I'm there. I'm
Yeah.
speaking on my behalf.
Mhm.
So yeah, I try to draw that line, but I don't have an answer. I'm looking for. I'm on the journey.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's so easy. Before recording, we were talking a little bit about this, but it's so easy for people now to just quickly give an answer, because we both like to ponder and be thoughtful about our thoughts and our responses also. So I love that you are so honest and genuine about the fact that you are on a journey, you don't have an answer where you're headed next. And I also love that I agree with you, community. Yes, I feel like in the last 8 years or so, a lot of the words that humans use in especially in the English language is no longer having the essence of it, so like community, I agree with you, because we live in this world of creators, which means so many different things depending on the person. The essence of communities are lost. Yeah, I agree with you. And so it's so beautiful to hear that thought of yours, because it's inspiring for me, and I I know it's going to be inspiring to other people also, where communities are not just one person having followers. It's really an exchange of energy, sharing, learning. No one is better than the other. No one is richer than the other. We're actually uplifting each other through
Yeah,
actual sharing. So
exactly.
right? I mean, I always leave my conversation with you. I always leave so nourished because I learn a lot from you, and I feel like every time we talk, I'm peeling a layer of you. So I'm grateful for that,
You
because in that, I mean, that journey, I in that process, I'm also peeling a layer of me. You know, so thank you for that. Um, I
can
have,
can I make can I
yeah,
make one comment on
of
that?
course.
I can share, but it is in Portuguese. Maybe I'm gonna write in English. But I do have some articles that I try to help people to understand the way that I see communities, and to the people that are listening. Um, if you create a stage, think that if it is a community, right? This stage is not yours. Someone else, another person.
Yes.
Maybe it's your job to put people there and to create interest around that stage. One thing that you can do, though, you can be intentional about who you're going to put on that stage. Someone that you believe. We talk a lot about women in tech, can be about women. People of color can be about people of color. It doesn't need to be you. It's not about you. It's about the stage and who you put there. So think about being intentional. And this is what I see that is kind of rare. For example, the Bots Brazil events, I try I try so hard to, okay, we're going to have a lineup. How many speakers do we have? How many are males? How many are females? How can we make this equal? Are we pushing too much in a particular agenda? Can we kind of balance to another topic? Try to be mindful about that. I know it's an invisible hand, but that's the intentionality. You need to be intention. Otherwise, your words is just words, it's not actions. When you become intentional, you make that with. Um, I don't know if the word correctly is in English, but in Portuguese, there is one word for intention, which is intenção, and there is another word which is intentionality. I don't know if that is that a word in
Yes.
English word. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So intentional. Yeah. Wait.
Intentionality.
Yeah. Just yeah. Because now I'm just switching Portuguese to English. So once I understood that, the difference between these two words, one is about the intention, doesn't mean that you're going to do. The other, you're making sure that the thing is going to happen even if it's not you. So you need to practice this intentionality. In a community space can be about that. You create the difference that you want to see. Maybe you're gonna not going to move the needles of an entire industry, but hey, Bots Brazil, we can talk about things that we don't see in the corporate events: ethical discussions, gender discussions, profession discussions, things that is important to the professionals. So yeah, I can send you the links,
Yes,
share
please.
some
Yes.
ideas in Portuguese, but yeah.
I love, by the way, I love it. I love hearing you speak Portuguese. I'm learning. It sounds beautiful. The language sounds beautiful. And yeah, I don't mind it at all. And you're always spot on with the words. You're usually very humble about your translation, but I feel like you are beautifully translating it. So you're good. um I feel we could go on and on and on. So I hope you can come back. But before that, and I want you to come back in many shapes and forms, not just as a guest on the podcast. Maybe we can talk offline about how you can, and maybe this can contribute to your scaling Bots Brazil or whatever. So, but before we get there, I want to go back to what you mentioned earlier before we started recording. You mentioned we are energy that manifests in the physical world. So there's actually so many things that you say in our conversations before until now that's just worth gold. And this is one of the things that I love uh, to hear from you earlier today. Where did that come from? What's I feel like it's evidence of your energetic perspective, like how we are not just matter, we're not just material things, we're actually more than that. And this coming from a tech person like you, working in AI, it's mind blowing for a lot of people. So, can you share why you think that way, or where that is perspective is coming from?
Um, honestly, I
Sorry
don't
if
know.
I put you on the spot.
I mean, it manifests, I guess, through me. There is some energy that is kind of itching me. I mean, um, this is not about religion, okay? And to the listeners, please don't use the religion to put me a label, whatever.
Yeah,
I was baptized. That means that I'm Catholic, right?
yeah, me too.
Um, but I do believe that it's just I cannot understand that it's just one God. I think there's so many out there.
Mhm.
At the same time, I cannot put a word
Mm,
on what it is. I don't know what it is. Something
yeah.
it's bigger. I don't know.
Yes.
And different religions explain that in different ways. That kind of makes me to believe that there is something that many people believe,
Yeah.
but different religions understand, they practice different, and we need to respect that. Everyone do your thing, and that's okay. I'm not here to judge. um, but one thing though, um, I for a few years, especially before my father passed away, um, I started to believe that I have some kind of sensitivity for mediums, and there is a religion about that spirituality. I don't know. At least in Portuguese is spiritismo. I don't know if in
Yeah,
English is the same.
it's
Yeah,
spiritism. Yeah, it's
yeah,
kind of a thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
So I have some parents that before they passed away, I kind of felt, and the same with my father. Um, I felt that they were kind of going. And my cousin, she also sometimes she sends me message like, "Oh, I had a dream with your father. He told me this. He asked me to tell you that." Um, and in Brazil, as we were talking before, Brazil is a mixed country. We have people from so many different places. Um, and when it comes to spiritualism,
mm-hmm.
uh, there are some really interesting books and philosophers about that. One of them being Chico Xavier. He's well known to be a psychograph. So I don't know how to. He kind of receives the spirits and kind of embody the person and writes whatever the person is believing. And throughout his life, he wrote so many letters and books. I kind of believe that. The
Mm-hmm.
energy manifests in a body and through us. And yeah, as a matter of fact, as we talked in I think a few weeks ago, I am reading this book. I'm still reading. I haven't finished the Rick Rubin book, The Creative Act. He
Mm,
kind of also suggests that idea as well, that every idea is not your idea; it's just a manifestation of that idea that occurs through you.
yeah.
So I kind of believe that we are here. After that, I don't know what is after that. My the sister of my grandma, my grand sister, that's how I call it.
That's so
Um,
cute.
huh?
That's so cute. Your grand sister.
Yeah, she's 94. So sometimes talk to her. She's just like, Caio, I'm ready. Don't worry when I'm gone. I'm ready. I lived everything. And she is kind of spiritualism as well.
Mm,
She believes, she kind of introduced me to some of these ideas. Um, and that's what I think. It's just an energy that's here, goes beyond. Sometimes we go back. Sometimes we
mm,
stay there for a while. There is a really interesting movie, Brazilian movie. It's called Astral City. a spiritual
Mm,
journey. It was actually based from Chico Xavier's writing. There is one a spirit that used to talk to him, and they together wrote so many books. And this is a Brazilian movie. It was in the golden area, the recent golden area of cinema in Brazil. I personally like this movie, even though it is not really well received in the Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. Uh, but I personally kind of think on the things that is on that movie, and it's kind of against to the Catholic vision. But as I said, I have a different mindset. I believe that everyone can be whatever they want. We should
mhm,
respect and embrace the different visions, and I'm fine with that. I'm not gonna fight with someone just because this person has a different vision of mine. We
mm.
can disagree, but we can live together.
Yes, we can lovingly disagree. I feel like every phrase you say, I wanna expound more. So I'm like, okay, which one do we expound more? But going back to what you said about ideas not being ours as human beings, it's really coming from a more divine, bigger thing, consciousness, God, universe, spirit, that it really belongs to them. We just get chosen as to what is gonna manifest materially in the world. I so agree with that. It's one of the things, it's one of the pillars also that we have at In Silence. So every all the time you're just really showing how you're like the embodiment of intelligence. Because especially for men, I would say that people who identify as men um don't really speak much about that spiritual aspect or topic or energetic or spiritualism. They don't talk a lot about that, so it's so refreshing to hear you speak about these things and philosophy, and kind of honoring and acknowledging that everything you do is coming from that divine bigger energy, spirit, God, universe. um
I think you're gonna like Dune.
I love it already, yeah, especially after you said, yeah, I'm
Just
so
saying that. Just throwing this in the air. Just
I
throwing
don't
this.
mind spoilers. Yeah, okay. So again, I I could spend the rest of my life speaking with you, Kayo. Always an honor, always such a lecture that's fun and human. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, I'm taking notes. I always leave with like a full notes of so many things that you share. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you're giving me this opportunity. So, as we wrap up this conversation for now, because you will be back in different ways, as long as you don't get tired. As we wrap this up, and just kind of tying everything together and putting everything in kind of one box with a ribbon. um, Spirituality and technology, whether you recognize it or not, we spoke about that in our conversation all the time, actually, in all our conversations, especially today also. How do you think embracing both worlds or perspectives or practice, embracing both practices, meaning having a spiritual practice, no matter what that looks like for that person, nothing to do with religion, but the whole spiritual practice for a person, and also doing something in tech, whether working in tech or learning about it or studying it. How do you think that's gonna impact the future of humanity? Since we're talking
Mm.
about evolution, do you think it's even sensible? What are your thoughts on that? I guess is my question.
Hmm. I'm not gonna say that is sensible. I would say that is important, almost urgent to take action. In terms of, we need to develop literacy in tech. We need to become better in AI literacy, tech literacy. It's the same for society. I'm saying literacy because in my mind I'm translated from a Portuguese word that is letramento, and literacy goes to many spheres. We can talk about social literacy. We can talk about gender literacy. Um, that gives us a better perspective when to talk, when to understand, when to active listen, and how to take action based on the things that we are seeing, the things that we perceive. As in the book that I kind of mentioned, the Creative Act, we need to be better in being sensitive to feel these signals and to take action on that. So many things happens, we're just not paying attention, but there is there. I know that talking like this, it's hard to point a finger at, but talking a different perspective, AI is coming for sure. Is going to change the mindset that we have about the interaction that we have with the internet. Just to give another example, there is a really cool article from Norman Nielsen Group. Just suggests the power of not ChatGPT, but products like ChatGPT. The idea is that until ChatGPT, people used to search for things on Google or Bing, search on internet. They go to a browser, they type, and they're trying to look for things. Now we can just open a chat, make a question, and then links are going to show up. We don't need to uh, look more for things. This is great. But the thing is, how that works, where those links come from, how can we make that better? What are the principles of that recommendations? If we understand that better, oh, that recommendations is based on data connected with the prompt that we carry on the search. That's going to it's going to help you to understand that the things that you see is based on so many layers and different things. So that's the type of things that I'm talking about. AI is just an example. Tech as a whole, it's another example that depending in the industry that you are, that can be in a completely different mindset than I have. But that's the thing. We need to become more AI we need, how can I say it? Literate? Is that the
Literate.
word?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And we need to become more tech literate. And that's how we can translate to our everyday. In terms of energy and spirituality, um, I think that like every day, we need to be educated about how to use tech for our interests rather than the interests of the tech,
Mm,
which is a different way of thinking. There is a really cool book, not about that in particular, but gives you an idea. The name of the book, it's Make Time in English. It's from the same creator of Design Sprint. It's both the same creators. Basically, the idea is to help you to make time for the things that matter to you. In the book, they create this thesis that is basically today you have the pool of distractions, which are basically the devices that pull your attention. And once you jump in the pool, you are immersed on that. Some people they can laugh the pool right away. Some people they're just there chilling. And when you notice, all day pass by. So we need to understand how to be better on not I mean I know that I'm talking about time management, but what I'm trying to say is that how can we use tech just for as a tool, because it is a tool,
mhm.
and how we can use that tool to connect with the things that we believe, with the things that we care, and with the things that we think that would make a difference. I it's funny because I work a lot with bots and chatbots, etc. But I become annoyed by the fact to be messaging, instant messaging with. I mean, maybe you noticed that I don't reply right away on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I become the person that calls
Yeah.
because I can focus on you. I can see you. I can listen to you.
Yeah.
And this is what my families and closer friends they know. If they want to talk to me, call me. If they need to have a right answer, call me. It's not going to annoy me. I'm trying to make this really clear to them because they matter to me.
Yeah.
And I try to see this. When I'm working, I'm working. This is a
Yeah.
tool. when I'm done, I'm done. I'm going to live the real life and be with the people that are kind of around me. Technology creates bridges, but also it can enclose you to things that, or take you away from the things that you kind of care. So you need to be mindful about that and work your, not time management, but how you can address that to make you better. um, and there's lots of ways of doing that. The book Make Time is great. I like the way that they write, because they kind of suggest like there is no right way, this only one particular way. The book itself, it's about many different practices that you can use to help you to make time to the things that you matter. I
Yeah.
think this is the mindset that we should develop on people, and therefore the spirituality as well. Tech is great; it can help us to become better people. But how? What are the people that we want to become? That's the things that we should be answer. But to the listeners, I want to invite them, if they want to have a really philosophical discussion or at least thinking about that, I invite them to watch a movie called Ghost in the Shell,
Yeah.
uh, which is a great movie. And
Hmm.
it's really connected with the cybernetics idea of AI, cyborgs, or anyways, I'm not gonna talk more because I'm gonna to spoiler, but that's a really cool movie, really interesting movie, and it can be about that. I think
Yeah.
we're going to get in a moment soon that we're going to be just talking to digital twins, agents, and it's going to be a different world. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I prefer to talk to people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Caio, you have to be the model for In Silence. So you speak my language. I mean, I literally say those things when either I get interviewed or I'm pitching or whatnot. And again, the anime reference, oh my goodness, Ghost in the Shell. It's a very important movie for my brother who passed away. And as he used to be, well, not used to be. I thought he was my reason for being alive on earth. And when he passed away, that's when my spiritual journey started. And now as I look back to that life and the time we spent together, especially after you said Ghost in the Shell again, I'm like, oh, so that's another reason why he was in my life, because he loved these things. Ghibli, Ghost in the Shell. And in during that time, I'm like, I don't like these things. I mean, it's cute, but I don't want to. I'm not very interested. And then he passed away. My husband also likes it, and now you're speaking it. And so it's beautiful how everything is just so connected, and the universe and God just gives you that signal, like you need to watch this or whatnot. So, oh, there's so many beautiful things coming out of you all the time, Kayo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making the question. I mean, I mean, today I'm speaking a lot, but this is a back and forth. It's just a situation to be speaking the podcast. I learned so much with you,
Oh,
and I also take notes. I mean, we have been talking, I don't know, I think 5 times before you were here, and it's always long times we
always, I
pass.
love it. And
So it's always great.
no, I agree with you also on the speaking like human beings. I'm an advocate for that. Like digital and tech is beautiful, it's great, it's
Yeah.
amazing, but we should not lose our humanity, right? Like this face to face conversations where we're focused on each other. I am truly honored. I'm truly honored that you're giving me the time, and know that this is not gonna go into waste, and a lot of people will be mind blown by just everything that you're sharing. And yeah, and I look forward to just having you again, whether on the podcast again down the road, or maybe you can teach a thing or two in the school when we're ready, or anything at all that we can partner with. Another word that I kind of don't like to use is collaborate because it has taken a new meaning, right? Like content. Collaborate is usually a word that's used by content creators, which again is beautiful, but sometimes the essence of the word collaborate is lost in the sea of content creation, because sometimes, I mean, like I shared with you, the way I choose the guests for In Silence is very thoughtful. It's been meditated upon. But the number one criteria is I have to believe in this person. I have to actually know his work and believe in the work they do and believe in the impact they're making to the world, not just to me, not just to In Silence, but to the generations after. This is the kind of conversations that I think should we should have more, especially for children, who are learning. So yeah, thank you. You're magical.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, and let me know the next opportunity. The listeners say hi. I'm curious to see what you learned from this conversation. I'm curious to see different points of view as well. Please say me hi, say hello.
So you can say hi, you can connect with him, and also explore his own projects. It's amazing, if especially if you want to know conversational design and AI and building communities, like the real essence of communities. You have to check out what Caio has done in the past, his speaking sessions. I hope there, yeah, I will try to link as many as possible because that's how I found out about Caio and how I've decided I'm gonna follow him in the true sense of the word. Where and then when it was time, I reached out to him on LinkedIn and everything just flowed. And again, I'm honored. I'm not just learning about his journey and AI in Brazil, but also Brazil. I'm learning a lot about Brazil as a culture. So, and many other things, music. Oh my
Did you
goodness.
like Lineker? I was
I
just about to
love
ask that.
liquor. Yeah, I
Yeah, great,
love.
huh?
And I showed it to my husband. That's his jam. That's his
Wow.
jam. Yeah. And then I just the look of just the whole persona of Lineker. I'm like, I want to be friends with this person. Super
You
cool.
know what? She lives near in my neighborhood.
Do you hang
Yeah.
out with her?
No, I wish. I wish.
But you
But
can.
no, I mean, it's funny to live in the neighborhood that I live. That sometimes there's just people like her just passing
Yeah.
by, just like, oh my gosh, is that her? It's just crazy.
Oh my goodness. It would make my day if one day you just show me a photo of the two of you together just because you bumped into each other. I don't know. So I'm a
But
fan.
I'm shy. I'm shy.
Oh,
Oh, I forgot to say. So Julie Zuo.
yeah.
So one day I went to the Facebook building. I think it's the
Mm,
building 20. It's the huge building that they have there. Um, the host, Maria, she sent to me. She told me like, "Hey, we're going to enter the Mark Zuckerberg's building. If you see him, please don't take a picture. He doesn't like. Don't do that. Okay, I'm fine."
okay.
And then I look the other side. There was she. Just across the room, in a room, she was in a meeting or something.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna talk to Mark, but if that person crosses my way, I might say hello.
Yeah.
And then who is she? And then I explained to her, and then, oh yes, she might be a director to be on that room, etc. And then we were walking by the building, and then, do you want some coffee? Maria asked me, do you want some coffee? And of course, let's make some coffee. And then I didn't know how to make the coffee as a barista. Then Julie just stopped me side by side with me. And then she makes some coffee for her. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then she was like,
Yeah.
do I say hello? And
Yes.
then I was embarrassed. And then I didn't say hello.
You are so adorable. But
Maybe she's listening and then she's sending me a hello.
I want to consume all the things you're recommending.
I love her writing style.
Well, thank you, Kayo. Thank you so much for giving us your time and energy. And again, a layer of you, layers of you every time you speak to me. And now that you're sharing this publicly within the space that we're trying to build here. And so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And I feel heard. I feel that you're actually listening to me. And thank you again for the opportunity.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. I am active. I'm deeply, actively listening to you. I always look forward to our conversation. So, And for those who are listening or watching, thank you for being here. Stay tuned for more deep, meaningful, conscious, and radical conversations from radical, amazing human beings like Kayo. And we look forward to having you share your thoughts, also your feedback, your questions, your suggestions to us. Thank you, everybody. Until the next episode.